Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Painting Time. I'm David Chatowsky. I have a very exciting episode for you today. I made this beautiful artwork of a great white shark jumping out of the water as it hits a bluefish. And I made this out of wood, and this is painted in acrylic paint. And I'm going to explain how I made that and why. If you have seen a former episode that I did, of painting, I painted this scene of a great white shark earlier, and so I decided to make this in a three-dimensional work. To start to do that, what I did was I took my drawing, which is this white shark right here. I enlarged my drawing, and then I cut it out with scissors. Once I had this as my template, I laid that on top of a signboard, a 4x8 piece of signboard, which is a 1/2 inch thick, and I traced it. Then I took a jigsaw, which is this tool to be used by adults. I cut the great white silhouette out of the signboard, and I also cut out the bluefish right here. I cut this bluefish out. I started to make this type of art, this three-dimensional art, about 18 years ago when I was on Block Island. I was shingling a house, and I had some shingles at my home, and it was during the winter. And I looked at a painting I had done, and I looked at the pile of shingles, and I said to myself, I can make that painting out of shingles. And so I started to cut them out, and now 18 years later, I've made this big piece of art of a white shark in a three-dimensional format, and this piece will be hung at the URI campus at the Natural History Survey building, which is a organization that keeps the biological records of all the species here in the state of Rhode Island. Now this scene, I saw this scene off the coast of Rhode Island about 3 years ago when I was sailing to Block Island, and we're about 9 miles northeast of the island, and to my left is this wave, and this is a white shark and breaching out of the water. And the reason why he's doing that is because the white shark had seen a bluefish and had come up from underneath and struck it. Now, as you can imagine, this scene took about, I would say, no more than a second and a half to see, but it was interestingly enough, it was at sunset. And the shark, when I saw it, was quite far off, but due to the sunlight, I could see the sunlight on the bluefish as it got hit into the distance. And my friend Todd, who was with me, had just gone from being on the sailboat on the wheel, had gone into the downstairs into the galley. And I said to him, and I had taken over, and I sat down and I saw this, and I was like, Todd, you're not going to believe this, but I just saw a shark breach out of the water. Now, to generate that into this scene, as I said, I started with my drawings, and the drawing took me about 12 hours to draw the form and as best as I was able, anatomically correct. Now you can see that white sharks are gray on top and white underneath, and that is a form. That's a form that they use to ambush their prey, and the bluefish is right there. And these animals are off the coast of Rhode Island. The great white is an apex predator. Sharks right now are, believe it or not, we have lost 70% of our global shark population due to overharvesting. And the main reason we've lost them is due to one recipe, the shark fin soup. Sharks all over the ocean are harvested and their fins are cut off, and those fins are used to make a soup And due to that, the popularity of that soup, we have lost 70% of our sharks since 1970. And I, for one, am appalled at that, and that's one of the reasons why I made this art, and I'm promoting the awareness of shark conservation with everyone that I'm able to meet, and with my good friend Stephen Leighty, the Minstrel of the North Atlantic, who will be joining us and singing a song that he wrote about this piece called the 3D Shark. Now, I want to explain to you this frame. The frame is an ornate frame, and it came from the storage units underneath the Rhode Island State House, and it was given to me by Elizabeth Keithline of the Rhode Island State Council of the Arts. And my brother-in-law, Dwight, this morning in Newport, he had to shorten the frame, and we had to order a saw blade. Just to do this, to make this, we had to order a saw blade from Illinois, and just to be able to cut this frame and reduce it. And we did that, and this morning we were in Newport. We fit the piece, and this background is a piece of signboard right here, right there. It's primed, and I painted this scene of the clouds going down, and as you can see, as it goes into the back, it goes from a darker blue to a lighter blue, and that is an atmospheric perspective, so that gives depth behind the great white. And the reason I did that was because in this piece, I want the shark to really give the feeling that this shark is coming right, not only out of the wave, but out of the painting. And one of the ways I did that is I also took a 1/2-inch piece. This is the material that I'm talking about. This is the signboard. It's like plywood, but it's weather resistant, so you can use it outside. But I like the smooth finish of it, and I cut this in strips, and this is a 1/2-inch thick. I cut this in strips, and then I used construction adhesive, and I glued them behind the white shark. And then once I glued those on, and I glued them on behind the bluefish. I then glued the shark onto those strips to further give the impression of the three-dimensional impression. Now, to paint this, sometimes I'll use a container like this, and I will hold that like this. And if you've seen some of my other shows, as I'll paint these scenes, but in this particular one, I used, as I said, acrylic paint, and I paint the whole shark gray. That was my first step. I painted the whole shark gray, and then I did white underneath, and then for his stomach and his fins, and then I worked. Now, sharks are amazing. The more you learn about sharks, the more fascinated you will become, because sharks do and have many adaptations that enable them to be apex predators, such as they have around their mouth, they have very sensitive nerves that are attracted to electricity. That's around their mouth. So they can sense, sharks can sense around their mouth the electric field around other life forms. That's how amazing they are. They can sense the electric field around other life forms. And now, if you think about it, these sharks are operating mainly, they're nocturnal. So it's dark. They also have a lateral line system. They have a line system that goes down the side of their body, and that is also to detect electric fields, especially of prey that's in distress. Sharks pick up on that. The white shark is able, great white sharks are able to elevate their core blood temperature, their body temperature, to make it warmer than the water around them. They do that, and by doing so, they're enabled to put the warm blood around their head, and that enables them to make quicker movements than their prey. And it also allows them to stay in colder water than a lot of other species of sharks, which enables them to tap resources. One, when the great white gets big, they feed on marine mammals such as seals. And seals are associated with like the gray seal, which has really come back in big numbers to Rhode Island and Cape Cod. White sharks hunt them regularly, and seals are associated with cold water. Bluefish is a common fish of the summer here in Rhode Island. They are an aggressive predator. They are, a lot of people, they're strong tasting fish. I particularly like to eat bluefish. I was raised on bluefish. When the great whites are, this shark is 5 feet. That's how big this shark is in reality. I cut this shark, it's 60 inches. This is a young one. Young great whites would feed indeed on fish, and they would eat other things, but they'd like to eat fish, other sharks, bluefish, striped bass. Those are things that the great white sharks would eat. In just a little bit, we're going to be loading this onto my truck and taking it to North Kingston. And I want to encourage everyone to join us on that adventure and to participate, and hopefully that you'll be able to go and see the artwork there in person. So here we go. Thank you. All right, folks, we're taking this painting to North Kingston. Please join us. Okay.
Here goes wild nature's beauty.
Amen. 3D white shark in action. Okay. Yeah, like this. Now, if you want to get over to the other side, just support the bottom of it, bring around. Ready? Perfect. Hello, everybody. We're now in Kingston, Rhode Island at the East Farm campus of URI. Here we are at the Rhode Island Natural History Survey, and we're about to unload the 3D great white shark. To my left is the director, David Gregg. Dave, you want to take it away?
Sure. The Natural History Survey is a nonprofit organization that helps to connect people knowledgeable about Rhode Island's animals, plants, and natural communities with people who can use that knowledge for research, education, and conservation. And every year we put up an art show, art inspired by nature. It's part of our mission to bring people together around nature, to get the public engaged in environmental management and conservation. And David has been very generous, allowing us to enjoy his paintings for the last couple of years, and now he's brought a new one for the show that we're opening this month.
Great. Steve, you want to give us a hand? Okay. You got it under underneath there? Get your hand under there. Okay, now just slide it. Sure, absolutely. Thank you. How you making out there, Steve? Good? Okay, good. I got it? Yep, I got it. Thank you.
Watch the bottom. You got it.
Watch that top corner. How you making out, Steven?
Good.
Good, me too. Okay. All right. Okay, slowly lower her down. Up there, lower your end. Nice job. Let's get her up against the wall. And we may, just give David some time to think about what he's going to do.
Mine's on.
And yours. Pretty good. There it is.
That is a thing of beauty.
It's just awesome.
The best part of it is that this is the aquaculture classroom.
Oh, nice.
So we're shortage of fish aficionados.
Come and see it in person, but you have to call ahead. The number is 874-5800. Make an appointment to come see this art and a lot of other excellent art from Rhode Island artists. Again, we're in Kingston, Rhode Island at the East Farm URI campus. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce now the Minstrel of the North Atlantic, Stephen Leighty, to sing his amazing song, The 3D Shark.
Thanks, David. Beautiful painting. Well, it's a three-dimensional shark. He's got a three-dimensional teeth. He's got a three-dimensional dorsal fin, and he's swimming right off of the beach. He's a three-dimensional shark. His bite is worse than his bark. It's a three-dimensional shark. It's a three-dimensional shark. One dimension is a fishing line. Two dimension is a flounder in the sand. Three dimensions is a space and time. The great white shark breaks the surface of the water and is flying through the air. Bluefish beware. Well, it's a three-dimensional shark. It's a three-dimensional shark. He's got three-dimensional eyes. He's got a three-dimensional heart. He's got ampullae of Lorenzini. He sees three dimensions in the dark. He's a three-dimensional shark. His bite is worse than his bark. He's a three-dimensional shark. He's a three-dimensional shark. One dimension is a line of surf. Two dimensions is the crest of a wave. Three dimensions is the space and time. An explosion from the water. A shark in the air. Apex predator. He's a three-dimensional shark. He's a three-dimensional shark. He's a three-dimensional shark. He's a three-dimensional shark. Well, he's a three-dimensional shark. He's got three-dimensional teeth. He's got a three-dimensional dorsal fin, and he's swimming right off of the beach. He's a three-dimensional shark. His bite is worse than his bark. Well, he's a three-dimensional shark. He's a three-dimensional shark. One dimension is a fishing line. 2 dimension is a flounder in the sand. 3 dimension is a space and time where the great white shark breaks the surface of the water and is flying through the air. Bluefish beware. Well, he's a 3-dimensional shark. He's a 3-dimensional shark. He's got 3-dimensional eyes. He's got a 3-dimensional heart. He's got ample eye of Lorenzini, and he sees 3 dimensions in the dark. He's a 3-dimensional shark. His bite is worse than his bark. But he's a 3-dimensional shark. He's a 3-dimensional